Hello. Sorry, just going to move this out of the way. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're well. I don't know why. I just noticed this. I can't seem to really open my eyes unless I'm looking up at the camera. But if I'm looking right at the screen, they look like they're shut, or if I'm stoned, which I'm not. But in any event, the reason I'm jumping on is a little bit ago, a couple months maybe, I made some dolls. Some of you might have seen them at Rose of Jericho and over at Amos. And feeling kind of uneasy about them. Maybe because you don't completely, fully understand how to use them and what they are. So it's suggested that I make a video of this, and I really hate to see myself on video, and I hate speaking like this. I feel weird talking to camera. But I figured this would be a good time. So here we go. First thing I want you to know is that these I consider puppet dolls. They are not voodoo dolls. Voodoo dolls are a closed practice. It is a closed tradition. The voodoo doll itself has certain aspects that are just for that sect or tradition. These, on the other hand, are more generalized and open to anybody for using. They are a magical tool. They represent a target, whether it be you or another person. They represent a target for the magic that you put into them or through them. Let's see. And true, yes. Just like voodoo dolls, they can harm, but they can also heal. So they can be used for good or for bad. The thought process of voodoo dolls or puppet dolls being solely for harm or for bad is a very big misconception. I personally have a puppet doll of myself that I keep working with, and I've seen positive results from working with it in a positive way. So that just gives you an idea. They are not just for harm. They're not just for evil. They're not just for negative energy. The only evil that it can have is the intent that you put on them. So if you make a doll and give it bad negative energy or bad intention, then yeah, you're using it for negative or you're using it for evil. But you can also do it the other way. You can use it for good. So keeping that in mind when you're actually deciding whether to use it, because like I said, it is another tool of magic, just like candle magic, just like jar magic, knot magic, and all of these things are types of magic. And so is the puppet doll. You can use them for things such as healing, prosperity, abundance, binding, and revenge, wisdom, intuition. All of those things are things that you can use them for. Whatever you would want, you use it for that purpose, and you make your doll for that purpose. These dolls, I did stitch them. They are all completely stitched up. I'm going to open this one because it's not a big deal. The ones that I have over at Amos and over at Rose of Jericho still have the opening here. So when you make a puppet doll, of course, you sew up all the edges. Some people will leave like the head open when they close them all up. They'll leave the head so they can stuff them through there. I prefer to open them up completely and then sew them up completely, then open up the back. So this way I can put things up in the head area or in the arms or in the legs, depending on what the magic is that I'm doing. For instance, if I want to work with intuition or my third eye or my crown chakra or negative thoughts, those type of things, I would want to put things up in the head area. If I want to learn a skill with my hands, or I want to work with my hands for healing, I would use the arms. Working with my heart chakra or healing painful memories and painful things of our childhood or anger, those type of emotions that we hold in our heart. Of course, you would go into the middle here. And then the legs I use for if I want to get somewhere, if I want to travel, if I'm trying to get to a certain space, I would use the legs. So of course, that's why I leave it open that way. Hold on just a moment. Okay. I'm sorry. So that's the construction of them. Now, if you notice, I actually put little yarn, I stitch little eyes onto them, and I stitch a little mouth and the heart. But that doesn't mean it's complete. I can only put on the basics. It's up to you who buys it, or if you create one of your own, to personalize this. For instance, some people choose to add on other things, be it sewn, glued, drawn with a marker, however you want to do it. Symbols of your zodiac. For instance, I'm a Libra, so I would put a Libra symbol on here, a set of scales. You can put in scars that you might have or that the person might have. Birthmarks. And you can do them. Doesn't really matter because I don't see it being a big difference in the spiritual world. But differentiating between male and female, you can do that to them also. And yes, I am referring to notes because I start to babble and I lose track. So I'm trying to keep some of myself on task. So even sigils can go on to these. If it's a protection poppet, if it's a healing poppet, all of those can be done up into sigils and put on these. So you can do that also. These things can be made of just about anything I've seen. I have these made of cloth and cotton filling, and it's just regular pillow filling. I've seen them made out of yarn. I've seen them made out of clay, wood, straw, like corn husk stalls. I've seen them. So they are made of many, many different things. It's up to you and how you want to make them, how you would. Yes, you could absolutely crochet one. As long as you can put things inside of it, you can do it. I've seen them do them being yarn and kind of tie them up, but you can crochet them and do them that way. That works just as well. Once you have your filling in or you have a space to put things in, you'll want to fill it with the appropriate things considering your intention. You can add herbs, you can add crystals, you can add slips of paper with little notes on them, you can add pictures, graveyard dirt, or any of those things that are to your intention. Okay. The other very important thing that you'll want to put in there is a tag lock. Now a tag, I'm going to put this down because I'm going to end up beating somebody with it. A tag lock is the representation of the target. And when I say target, it might be you or it might be somebody else, but it's a target and some sort of tag lock to represent that person. Saliva. So if they maybe licked an envelope and you have the envelope, nail clippings, hair is a popular one. A picture is a popular one. A signature. And although it is perfectly fine to use, some people are kind of iffy about it, blood. But then you're going into also blood magic, which is something very intense. So mindful of that. But yes, anything basically that would have their DNA, and if you don't have their DNA, a signature, something personal to them. I've even taken a brown paper bag, ripped it up into a piece, and just kind of wrote their name over and over and over and over and over around in a circle until it reached the center. So it kind of just refocused it right to a pinpoint position into the center of who it is for. So that you can do if you don't have anything to tag lock them with. Some of the herbs that you can do, you can use chamomile, for instance, if you want a peaceful type of energy. You can use coffee if you want a high energy type of thing where they are feeling fatigued or you're feeling fatigued. Get some coffee in there, and then that works also. Rosemary, of course, we all know that rosemary fulfills any type of intention that you put into it, but a lot of people use it for protection. Let's see. Roses can be put in if it's a love. You can use poisonous plants or herbs in cases of a negative energy puppet. Okay, someone that you want to do something to. Maybe you want to put something poisonous into. Tobacco is a popular one also. So all of those things can go into it. Once you've finished filling it, crystals you can put into it. So rose quartz if you're trying to do a healing one. Clear quartz if you want some clarity. Some of the black ones like tourmaline, jet, onyx you can put in for protection, and they work really great. Once all that's in there, of course, you're going to stitch it up and close it. Now comes, what can you do with them? I personally have 2 different poppets working right now. One of them is of myself that I did when I wanted to increase my own intuition. I filled it with things of my that I considered that worked well with my goal of intuition. So I put those together. And every once in a while I'll go in and I'll talk to my doll. I will clean her up a little bit. I keep her in a little box with some padding and a nice satin piece of fabric so that she's comfortable at all times. I make sure that she is attended to so she doesn't feel alone. And then I have on the other extreme a puppet doll of someone that harmed me at one point, and I wasn't thrilled with it. So I let things go for a while, and then I made a doll and I tagged them with it, and I keep that one in an empty cardboard box tied with black string and just give it a shake every once in a while. So I'll describe more about that one. The intuition one I did I consider has done an amazing job in increasing my own intuition as I have worked with it. The other one that I did, I would call sort of a bindings puppet, and I'll go over that in just a minute. A decoy puppet is another popular one, and I'll describe that one. A decoy puppet is, a lot of us worry about people sending bad energy to us or negative energy because they're angry at us, and we tend to worry about it. So what you can do is make a puppet doll of yourself, and at that point you can charm it and activate it so that any negative energy that is sent to you is directed towards the puppet, because the energy is confused as to who is the one it's going to, and it will absorb all the negative energy sent to you. So that's a good way to use a decoy puppet. And that one I would actually add a magnet into so it can attract all that negative energy and it won't be going towards you. The other one was the binding one that I talked about. And a binding puppet I would use in terms of someone who's always doing bad things to you and making your life miserable because of their actions, and you want to bind them. Mine personally, it was someone who was always speaking things that bothered me or hurt me, and I just wanted them to stop. So I took my puppet and I poured wax, black wax, across the mouth to shut their mouth. And then I took them and I kind of scrunched them all up and I tied the whole thing in black string. And I tied it very tightly. And that's the one I put into the box. And when I put it into the box, I then tied the box with black string. And that I used as a bind. I'm going to put on my glasses because I want to read you this little chant that I found that works really good for that one. Great goddess of life and death, I ask you to acknowledge that this creation of cloth be known as flesh and blood of whoever it is. And at that point, you would take that one and you would wrap it in black cloth. And some people say bury it close to the person. I personally prefer to keep them close to me so I can keep working them. For instance, the one that I have, I wouldn't very close to that person. I'd keep it close to me. And every once in a while, I'll go in and give it a shake just to kind of reinvigorate that energy of it. And the other one is, between the worlds in Hecate's eyes, you, the person's name, are bound powerless. In the eyes of this world, you are harmless. So mote it be. So those are just some of the things that I've heard sung to do that. Hold on just a sec. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of little chants out there that you could use for poppets, and they all work really well for that. Okay. The last thing I want to discuss is disposing of them and dismantling a puppet when you're done. I haven't dismantled any of mine because I want to keep the magic going. But the best way is like any jar or any type of spell. You dismantle it, bury what you can, dispose of what you can't. By the moon and stars and goddess above, I now sever this link with thanks and love. So mote it be. And you're done, and you can clean up all the rest of it. So while a lot of you have always thought of poppets being only negative, I want you to know that no, they are not only negative. They are very positive also. Let's say you have someone that's suffering from depression. A rose quartz with some pink roses in it, those type of herbs. Close it up. When you see the person getting down and feeling really at their lowest, bring the poppet out, talk to it, love on it, give it affection, give it kind words. Even writing kind words all over the puppet doll would work really nice. Let's see, when you sense someone who has an illness, and let's say they have some sort of arthritis, they're having a really bad day because it's going to rain, give some extra love to that puppet, and attend to it maybe. Pour some oils onto the part that they are affected by and let it work through that. So that's pretty much what I have as far as letting you know about the poppets and how I feel about them, how I use them. If you have any questions, you can let me know. You can send me a message. You know how to reach me. The poppets can be found. You can get them from me, obviously. I do have some over at Rose of Jericho in Sunbury. I do have some over at Amos in Milton. But if you can't get to either of those locations, you can always just reach out to me and we can figure something out to get one. And of course, you can always make your own. And how you do it is all up to you. Like I said, fabric, straw, corn husk, clay, wood, whatever it is that you feel comfortable working with, that's what you put together. And enjoy your magic. Work with it in the best way you know how. Put a lot of intention into it. The only thing I would say is be mindful of what your boundaries are. If you feel that you aren't comfortable doing negative energies to somebody else, maybe turn it around and create one for yourself to protect yourself from that person. So instead of doing something to that person, do something for yourself with the puppet doll. So find a way to turn it around so you can use it, but always being mindful of your own boundaries and where they lie as far as what you do with your magic. With that being said, I'm going to sign out of here and say goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day. And if you have any questions, reach out and let me know. Till then, see ya.